This election isn't a reality TV show.
Hillary Clinton is unfit to be our president.
Welcome back to Newsmax TV's continuing coverage of tonight's presidential debate. I'm J.D. Hayworth, very pleased to be joined here on the anchor desk by John Bogman and Miranda Kahn. The debate has now moved along, and it certainly has been interesting so far. This was set up not only with the infamous tape from 11 years ago, but then earlier when Donald Trump held a pre-debate news conference with women who have accused former President Bill Clinton of sexual assault or inappropriate advances over the years. This is video of that appeared earlier tonight on Facebook. It is worth noting the lady next to him, the brunette lady, was, as a 12-year-old, involved in a rape trial where Hillary Clinton provided legal counsel, and there is a rather infamous tape of Hillary floating around laughing about the predicament and what they did to spring the defendant. There is Paula Jones and you know the cast of characters there. But that was before the debate. Let's get to the debate, and as was expected, the question of Mr. Trump's infamous videotape from 11 years ago came up. Here is the response Mr. Trump offered.
That was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I am a person who has great respect for people, for my family, for the people of this country, and certainly I'm not proud of it. But that was something that happened. If you look at Bill Clinton, far worse, minor words, and his was action.
And as I was mentioning earlier tonight, as disturbing as Mr. Trump's talk was, actions speak louder than words, or do they? Miranda Kahn, your take.
This is a tough one. I think he had to apologize. The optics don't look great. John and I were talking about this with, Kelly. I'm sitting there going, Kelly and Conway, where are you? She's gone. Chris Christie wasn't in there. Pence canceled his event yesterday, so it doesn't look good. I think he had no choice. Women are going to be offended by it, but his true supporters aren't going to leave him because of this.
What about it, Brother Bogman?
Well, you look at the tweets coming in and who's saying what, and of course, to America, there's the Trump camp and there's the Hillary camp. And if you're in the Hillary camp, you're saying Trump is self-immolating out there on the stage. And if you're in Trump's camp, you think he's killing it out there on the debate stage. And that was actually a tweet. I don't know who said that, but that's what people are saying. America is so divided right now. Every time Trump, though, is not talking, there's so much ammunition for him to attack Hillary Clinton on issues other than Bill Clinton. And you remember, J.D., this has been litigated once before, and it didn't work out so well. There was a lot of blowback on Republicans. And is it really wise to open up all these doors, again, that the Democrats can just bring this stuff up again and again and again? It's hard to tie Bill Clinton's accusations to Hillary. Let us find out what is on your mind. Why don't you call us at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. And let us know who you think is faring better in this debate. We want to get Hillary's side when she was asked about the Trump audio tape. Here's what the Democrat nominee had to say.
What we all saw and heard on Friday was Donald talking about women, what he thinks about women, what he does to women. And he has said that the video doesn't represent who he is. But I think it's clear to anyone who heard it that it represents exactly who he is.
So one thing that does is it certainly complements Hillary's advertising and the mailing that is going out from the Democratic Party nationwide to Republican voters, trying to say to Republican women, hey, you really want to stick with Hillary. But what was interesting, and this is the variation, John, that I want you two to discuss with me here. Very quickly, Trump moved from Bill Clinton and his conduct to Hillary enabling Bill, or at least going after those women. And he made mention, Miranda.
He had no choice, really.
Well, yeah, but I thought what was interesting, and I made mention in the video from Facebook of the lady who's now fully grown, who was only, I think, 12.
Right.
Or something like that when
Yeah,
that
she was
rape
12
trial
years
went
old
on.
at the time.
And the point, he seemed to be fairly subdued. Now, people, I'm sure we're going to get the video of the sniffing thing again tonight for whatever reason.
Maybe
But
he's got a nervous sniffle.
yeah, but whatever that is, he
It's the
seemed to be
microphone, John. It's the microphone.
seemed to be much more subdued and connecting points in a way that advanced the debate. Obviously, it moved past this issue, but this was the big one tonight in the news cycle.
Well, thank goodness it moved past this issue. There are so many critical issues right now that we got to face. This is a very pivotal election, and it'd be nice to actually talk about tax reform, the deficit, the debt, our military. You know, things are not so great with Russia right now. We do need to talk about these issues as well. Now, what Donald Trump was doing, from my perspective, with his press conference ahead of the debate, was to throw this out there and just cancel out the morality issue altogether. I said these things, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton have done these things. Let's just talk about the fact that I'm an outsider and move on. Has he been able to do that tonight? That's going to be the test. Can he, you know, and again, JD, we have got one more debate. And as you know, in the last election cycle, it swung back and forth wildly on who won in which debate. What's going to remember, or what voters are going to remember, is what happens on the October 19th debate, not necessarily what happens in this debate. Do you agree?
Well, it's very tough to say because, yes, usually that last impression, but as history has shown us, usually the first presidential debate becomes the most watched. However, given this ongoing paparazzi scandal sheet kind of interest in this thing.
How many times have we said that?
It'll be interesting tonight to see what the ratings are. And again, we're interested in what you have to say at 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Now, the other thing that happens when you're involved in a campaign, what you move to do is to disqualify your opponent. You can be polite, you can do all of that, but you have to disqualify your opponent to that point tonight. In stark contrast to the first debate, where Donald Trump waited for Lester Holt to bring up emails, which he never did. Tonight, Trump was on the attack, and his attack involved more than just asking about 30,000 emails. Let's listen to what he said directly to Hillary.
If I win, I am going to instruct my Attorney General to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation, because there has never been so many lies, so much deception. There has never been anything like it.
And if you go back through history, whether it's Whitewater, where papers mysteriously disappeared and then showed up on a table in the living quarters, where you've had a situation where Hillary has gone in for depositions, she, to me, carries this stuff, hey, you're not going to touch me. I'm a Yale-trained lawyer, and we've got the right people. But Trump, for not only his supporters, but a whole lot of Americans disillusioned with politics, he may have struck a very important chord there. Now, Miranda, that's not what we're going to read tomorrow. We're going to read how Mr. Trump is abusing the judiciary, so forth and so on.
You think so? Because I don't think that's what you're going to hear. I think you're going to hear about how he's had a much stronger performance. You mentioned it, that he seemed more prepared this time. I actually thought he came out a little rigid in the very beginning.
But that's okay.
But that's okay. It took him a little while to warm up. I think seeing your reaction to someone who's debated yourself, you seem pretty pleased with his performance as compared to last time.
What I see is, and I think
he hit those points that you were talking about.
I think it's in very, what have we heard throughout this campaign from his strongest supporters? You got to let Trump be Trump.
Right.
And I think tonight we have seen a good mixture and a modification where obviously he has done preparation, but he still remains Donald Trump. The one-liners interspersed there, and also taking on the moderators, because again, for conservatives or those who feel that the political system has ignored them, well, you take a look at the numbers. I hate to indict the profession that we're in, and as John, you first reminded me, we're not the media, we're Newsmax TV. But granted, a whole lot of people are upset at the alphabets and their cable cousins and the newspapers and the news weeklies, thinking the bias is just so strong, seeing the bias that when he singled out the moderators, Martha Raddatz and Anderson Cooper, and said, okay, now it's 3 against 1. Okay.
That was a very smart move on his part.
Yeah, it was.
When you can't directly beat your adversary, blame the referees, right? You know, that was Donald Trump was doing. And I think from that standpoint, he was able to pivot from the question about the tapes. He's moved on. He's hit Hillary Clinton with a couple good liners. The one he had about Abraham Lincoln, he fired back on her on that. That landed a direct blow. Trump, I think, you know, the bar was pretty low for him tonight, right? If he just doesn't melt down up there on stage, tomorrow it's going to be just like after the first debate. Not a lot of minds are going to be changed. The issue with the tapes, will that live on? I think it might. And I think it may have been a mistake for the Trump campaign to come out and apologize the way they did, because now if there's any other tape that is released between now and then, he's going to have to come out and apologize for that again. When this is a guy who's famously not apologized for so many things. You know, the comments themselves are disgusting, but is it really that much different than the other stuff that we've heard from Donald Trump and that he's been able to manage thus far? I don't think so.
Well, the question becomes, words we know can hurt, but again, there's a huge difference between words and actions.
Exactly.
And what has hurt Hillary is the fact that the actions she has taken, or curious inactions in the case of Benghazi, that has come back to haunt her, or buying into that story about that YouTube video and flights of fancy. Again, our number, 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629. Miranda, in terms of Hillary's performance, she doesn't appear to be ill tonight, and I don't mean that badly.
She didn't cough or didn't seem to have any problems getting up, and Trump didn't seem to make fun of her for that. But I wanted to go back real quickly, if you could, to something that you have brought up, and you say this time and time again because you've experienced it yourself as a politician. One of the first things that I noticed in the debate was Anderson Cooper and the way he phrased that question about the videotape. I believe he said endorsing sexual assault.
Yeah, it was as if he was setting up.
He read into it.
Yeah, he decided to set up Trump in the worst possible way, basically laying out a commercial for Hillary. What's going to happen is the way he asked that question is going to become a commercial for Hillary, and that's part of, whether it's conscious or not, it is that collusion that conservatives see between leftists from the cable cousins and the alphabet networks getting together to find a way to ask a question. What we want to ask you tonight is, who do you think is winning the second presidential debate? Here is where you go to vote. Go to newsmaxpolls.com. Let us know who you think won there, and also give us a call. 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. We'll continue our discussion about tonight's presidential debate as our coverage continues here on Newsmax TV. So stay with us and give us a call.